Right. Now, what did they say that they wanted done in this room? It's a bit dark, isn't it? Hello? Is anybody in here?
Hello?
Who's that?
Hello? Oh, hello there. You must be the other intern, is that right?
Oh, that's right. Yes, I'm the Forge Master.
We're using our made-up names, right? Yes. I'm the Playmaker. That's my name. Yes.
That's right. I think I remember you from the college.
Yes. I briefly saw you. You looked all hot and sweaty and hammering things, and I was in the corner reading a nice book, I think.
I certainly think that we were doing different majors, weren't we?
Yes, definitely. Did you get one of these letters?
I'm not convinced I did. Who gave you that?
Well, it seems to have come from the Question Masters. I'll read it out to you. It says, "Greetings, interns. Please introduce yourselves." I think we've done that already, so I think we're good there. Introduce ourselves to the audience. Hello, audience. I am the Playmaker.
Hello, audience. I am Forge Master. Are we live then?
Yeah, this whole fourth wall stuff is very new to me. It's all omnipotent power and all that. Ooh. It has come to the Council of Question Masters' attention that our subjects under scrutiny from the material plane are becoming wise, in their pitiful limited capacity, it says here in brackets, to our challenge rooms, and they might be in need of a little refresh. This is a task not to be undertaken lightly, as our challenge rooms are designed to draw out knowledge, data, and ideas with maximum efficiency. Designing new challenges is a task best left to the upper echelons of question masters, think tanks. Unfortunately, they're all currently busy, so we have generously decided to let you two have a go, Forge Master and Playmaker. Ooh, that's us. Consider this the culmination of your internship. Success in this task will cement your place amongst the council and grant you license to borrow multiversal mortals to run your own Talking is a Free Action shows. Well, that's rather exciting now, isn't it?
It does seem like a bit of an end-of-year exam, doesn't it?
It does a little bit. I am not going to lie. I'm a little bit nervous about it all because I hope I do a good job. But it should be good anyway. Sorry, no, there's a bit more. It says, before you begin, please read out and thank our list of sponsors and supporters. That's a new thing. And don't forget to acknowledge the planes of social media and podcast land. And it says here that they are Hero Forge, Ultra Pro, Phoenix Dice, and Alchemy RPG, and supported by Idle Champions, Neverwinter, Elderwood Academy, and D&D Beyond. There's also the D20 Club, which is on Patreon, which you can support for as little as one of your currency. Okay, yep. One of any currency, that's it. You can also find us at Roll Together RPG on Twitch, YouTube, podcasts, and socials under the name Roll Together RPG. Okay, so that's that bit done. It seems to be a little bit more, which seems to be in regard to what we are doing here today. Do you have any idea what we're doing here today?
Well, I said it in the letter, didn't I? That we've got to design, designing some more rooms.
Yes, it was, yes. So, yes, I mean, I did read that before, but I've got the brain of a sieve, so, yes.
You should give it back then.
Yeah, I should give it back, yes. But anyway, before you is a device known as a D6. I think is this. Do you have one of these to hand?
I do not. Hang on. I'll just quickly make something. Do you want to roll your one for the moment?
Yeah, I can roll mine, man. Let's just finish this letter off. Sorry, I had this ability to try to adapt to other people's accents. So if I start to sound like you, I apologize. This will help you narrow down rolling this D6 will help you narrow down the infinite options and get you started. You have 60 universal standard minutes. From the beginning of your reading. I shouldn't be waffling then, should I? Note to complete your task. Stay classy. P.S. This one seems to be from the Poppet. The biscuits in the tin on the high shelf are for fully initiated question masters only. If we catch you dipping your hands in or letting the kobolds do it, you'll be placed on black hole cleanup duty for 3 cycles. Right, let me just get the crumbs out of my beard.
I didn't want a biscuit until I heard that.
Don't tell anybody. I can get rid of this now. There we go. Right. Anyway, D6. Did you say I
Right,
should
so
go
to
first?
narrow down the infinite options, which seem to be numbered 6, we roll that
Yes.
cube.
I thought 8 was the number for infinity. Oh, well, do you want to roll?
All right, if you're sure.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 5.
A 5, right. So let's have a look through this infinite possibilities that we have here. All right. And we have got... Right, so would you like to read it out?
I can do. So, this one seems to be called Tentacle Friends. A coastal village is being plagued by some kind of eldritch nightmare creature in the sea. But it isn't the BBEG that the players initially think it is. Why and how do they have to work alongside it? What do they actually encounter?
Oh, well, that's quite an interesting one. That could be, you could probably do that for the lower level of adventurer, couldn't you, surely? Working with something that could later become the BBEG with tentacles, and we all know that there are people out there that like tentacles. What do you think?
Well, I'm wondering because it's obviously saying about it's not the thing that you think it is originally. So, there are certain entities that everybody is aware of that might be behind something. But how could you do that with a double bluff? Kind of pull the wool from under their eyes?
Definitely. Well, I think the first thing that we need to establish is what are some of those common tentacle-based creatures? I can think of at least 2. Can you think of any more than that? Let's play a higher or lower game.
Well, okay. I'll call your bluff. I can think of 3.
Oh, okay. I can think of... Actually, no, wait. I'm going to get you to say what your 3 are. We'll see if you're right.
Shit. Right. So I'm thinking beholders.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking ithalids.
Mm.
And then I was also thinking, what are those creatures, the kind of spidery, crabby ones with 4 legs? Unagis.
Oh.
Onagis.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think that beholders had tentacles, but that's an interesting concept. One of my ones was actually kraken.
That is also a good shout. I didn't even... I was thinking octopus faces. I didn't even think of actual octopuses.
Yes, I'm sure in the multiverse there are many more creatures that have tentacles like that. But I think those should be the ones that we base this on for the moment, especially for a slightly lower level party. I mean, as far as I'm aware, krakens and illithids are for mid to higher levels. What about the other 2 that you said? Beholders is the same, but what about the other one that you said? I'm sorry, I can't remember what the name was.
I'm sorry, there seems to be a cat in here. All right.
Sorry, my mouse friend is hiding.
Now I'm going to have to consult the manual in this case because I don't, off the top of my head, know exactly what the unagis or whatever it is that they're called actually are leveled. But I think they're on the lower side.
Well, that's good. I mean, the question masters asked us to come up with new rooms or other ideas in order for us to complete the initiation. They didn't say that we couldn't consult the manuals that we've been learning from, so I think that's a fantastic idea.
I mean, I think it would be a mistake not to consult the manuals.
Yes, well, we definitely need to get our information correct, don't we?
How would you normally do this kind of thing then? Would you start off just with the idea and then find a monster, or would you find your monster and then use your idea?
Well, we've already got the sort of idea of a coastal village as being plagued by an eldritch nightmare. So that's the idea. And then what we've done so far is we've added the creatures in. Normally, I suppose it's down to preference. There are times where I've had ideas that have sprung up from a creature. As an example, as you said before, a beholder. I've had an idea for a beholder, and then the adventure itself sort of evolved around it. And there are other times where the setting came first, like a village is being plagued by a creature. I don't know what that creature is until they get a little bit through, and then I thought, dragon, yes, that sort of thing. So it's all depending on the person, really, but yes.
So, I found them in the manual. They're called Neogi.
Ooh, Neogi.
Not Unagi. I think that's a kind of eel. Which is still quite tentacly. I mean, that could be a good idea for what it turns out to be.
Yes. That could be the double bluff.
I like your thinking. So yes, Neogi. They range from a Neogi hatchling at about an 8th level. Then it's a bit of a jump. It goes to 3 or 4, but still fairly low. You could have a reasonably low-level party doing all right against one of the lower-level Neogis, or you could even go for a slightly harder encounter with the big ones.
Oh, okay, right. I think what would be good would be, as you've got the manual up there, are you able to give a bit of a history on what Neogi are, just for audience members, myself, who might not know what they are?
All right. So this is reading from the manual of the Question Masters and not from any other particular manual that might be or might not be available to people online through one of our many sponsors or supporters. This is telling me that the mentality of a Neogi is alien to many other peoples, because adult Neogi have the power to control minds. So they consider doing so to be entirely appropriate. The society makes no distinction between individuals aside from the ability that a given creature has to control others, and they don't comprehend the emotional aspects of existence that humans and similar beings experience. To Neogi, hatred is as foreign a sensation as love, and showing loyalty in the absence of authority is foolish. Neogi mark themselves and those they capture through the use of dyes, transformation magic, and other markings intended to signify rank, achievements, and the identity of the individual's leader. By these signs, Neogi can identify each other's place in the hierarchy, and they must defer to those of higher station or risk harsh punishment. So that's a little bit of what their society's like, and then a description. It says a Neogi looks like an outsized spider with an eel's neck and head. It can poison the body and the mind of its targets and subjugate even beings that are physically superior.
No, and obviously, because it's created sort of with the creativity that you could have in the world. If you happen to not like spiders, you could always change their appearance to suit the needs that you have. An idea that's striking me straight away is the concept of the dyes that they use. So as part of the Tentacle Friends description, it says is to sort of double bluff the party. So why not make the party believe that the BBG is potentially a illithid, as that's quite an intelligent creature, but however, because they're a lower level party, you don't want to put them against those. But there's keys and clues left around of these dyes, which eventually leads there to being a nest of these creatures that the illithid wants to get rid of in order for it to complete its goal, because they're maybe having some sort of a psychic battle. That's an idea that's popping off my head at the moment.
It's interesting as well, because obviously the illithids are also something that does quite a bit of mind control. So the fact that these Neogi also often indulge in charming their opponents, then that seems like a pretty good place to start with the double bluff. So,
yes.
Right. How, when we open the room, do we indicate that there is something controlling minds?
Well, so a good way to think of this, I think, would be they enter into said room. Perhaps they end up on the beach outside the coastal town, or just within the coastal town, or on the pier quay type area. And maybe if the people were to the heroes of the material plane were to walk around they would see that people are a bit, what's the word? Their eyes are a bit glazed over, maybe?
That's true, yeah, something that signifies initially that they're not in control of their own actions.
Yes. Blank staring at the party, at the player if they look at them, completely ignoring requests, maybe even bumping into them could be, and not acknowledging that they're there could be indications of mind control, as it were.
Just a thought, but if they were being mind controlled, surely the creature mind controlling them would still be in fairly decent faculty, but perhaps just the eyes glossed over is your clue. So perhaps they look like they've got that kind of 1,000-mile stare, but they're performing everything completely competently. So you don't think that they're paying attention because their looks make it look like they're just, not focused. But then actually, whatever, even if they ask something.
That sounds good. Yes, definitely sounds good. But then we have to think of a way to insert the mind flayer into the situation. Where would be the best place to do that, do you think?
I mean, sometimes the most obvious solution seems to be the best. What if we just, from the offset, plant the idea that it's illithids and have the very first people that they encounter in the room be selling octopi?
Oh, that's a very good idea, yes.
And then
yes,
it's just inescapably people will go, all right, mind control, octopuses, it's one of these.
Yes.
It isn't.
Yes, and you could also say that the buildings are coloured very vibrantly to sort of hint at the double bluff that's going on. It's a very vibrant looking settlement that the players have come into. That could be a hint towards the double bluff, maybe.
Question for you.
Yes.
Do we think that we want to make this place look familiar to the people coming in, or I suppose it depends on where they're originally from anyway, but a lot of the people that we're testing are native to the nation of Faerun. Do we want to make it look like a seaside town around there, or do we want to go something a bit more exotic?
I mean, I'll tell you what would be interesting. Now, I don't know if this is something that is possible, but we could leave it to the players, couldn't we? Because we have the higher ups of the Question Lords, which we will hopefully become at the end of this, have the ultimate control of the designs of the rooms. So maybe we ask the players a location that you're familiar with. Maybe that place takes on a familiar feel to the player themselves. Maybe some of the people that they see around the town are people that they know. Gives them a bit more of maybe an emotional connection to it, and then that way it would be up to each of the players who get this room, which would then mean it would be different every time. Perhaps, just as an idea.
No, I like it, especially because that'll help to further the mind control elements, because they would recognize people, but they wouldn't be behaving in a way that they particularly normally would, or perhaps even though they are behaving as you might expect a person who is selling octopi, they don't recognize them. You pass them by 100 times.
And another thing that you could do as well is, as we are pulling these people out of the material plane at certain points in their adventuring lives, maybe the people that they're adventuring with might, not all of them, but one or two of them maybe might pop up in the town as well. And that would also signify that there might be something wrong because they're also not acting the way that they should.
I like it. Do we want to make this more kind of investigative, or like a? Are we relying on social interactions, or is there going to be some kind of puzzle mechanism? I do like myself a mechanism, I have to be honest.
I mean, we can certainly add a puzzle mechanic to it. I would have thought. I mean, this whole thing seems to have the inclination that it could be combat, puzzle, or social based.
Mm.
So I reckon we can go, because there'll be some people who will instantly find out it's an illithid, meet said illithid, and then kill it. And then, we would then need to work out a way for the other creatures to make an appearance in order for the puzzle to actually be solved. What do you think?
But not an illithid, because that's the double bluff, isn't it?
Yes.
So they think that it's an illithid, but it's not. It's the Neogi.
Yes, but should we not have an illithid appear and be the one that's like, this is my territory, these creatures have come into my territory, or maybe not even, as we said before, there was going to be like a alpha battle between the illithid and the Neogi.
I'm just looking at the brief. It does say that it isn't the BBEG that they initially think, so we should be hinting that it is. An illithid, but if one turns up, then they'll just instantly go, well, that is it, and ignore anything else.
This is a very true point, yes. So, but as you said, if we're putting subtle hints in that it is an illithid, maybe we have, because we've got the squids, we've got the mind control, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that is unique to an illithid that you could put in there as even more of a hint before the double bluff? Something that's very unique to them, but could also pass as something that the Neogi do as well.
I'm not sure. I'm going to look in the manual again.
Yes, right. And while you look in the manual, it says here that as part of the Question Master's journey, you have to say something called "Talking is a free action" to speak to the higher beings that control the players. Do you reckon that will work on us if we do that?
I mean, there's only one way to find out.
Would you like to say it, or shall I say it?
You may do the honors.
Talking is a free action.
I'm glad that you did that, because I think that my throat was about to give way with the gruff accent.
It's Josh and Sean.
How are you, Josh?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
Good.
So, I guess we should explain for the audience that we are hopefully joining the Question Master team
with our alter egos, the Forge Master and the Playmaker. Now, Sean, for anybody who doesn't know, can you explain where the idea of the Forge Master come from?
So, the Forge Master, I mean, very simply came from the work that I was doing for Hero Forge previously, where not for Hero Forge as such, but with them as a sponsor in mind, and the forging the characters kind of series that we were running. We aren't going to do that anymore, but I was kind of attached to the Forge Master character, so I decided that I would jump in with him. How about you, Josh? What's the thinking behind the Playmaker?
Thinking behind the Playmaker, for anybody who's watched any of the shows that I've done on the various different channels that I've been on in the past, there was always one character that I always played, or that I always inserted into the games, whether it be offline or streamed. That was like this, almost was pretty much a Question Master, in the sense of they were this multiversal traveler who appeared everywhere. Everybody hated him. So I took that concept and then added in some little elements that sort of reflect myself. Playmaker being, I like to make things, as some people may know, I like to do video editing and stuff. So that's the maker part. And then the play part is, well, I play with all of you lovely people that roll together and various other places. And I just thought I'd push the two together. I know playmaker has a different term in sport, but I don't follow sport, so it's not that term. So I thought, yeah, bring them together. And I like trading cards as well. So that's where as you'll see on the mini, that's where the card element comes from. Is I'm massive on trading card games. So as are you, I believe, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I dabbled a lot when I was younger, but maybe getting back into it because of the Forgotten Realms sets.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes. Now, because we are here, and because this is talking as a free action, and because we have said those words, normally what happens is we, or the question masters, would roll a D100 to ask a question.
We do want to give people the opportunity to use that, roll that dice.
Exactly.
GIF.
So, as it's a bit different, and as we are going to both eventually be question masters, should we do a question for yourself and a question for me?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Let's do it.
Awesome. So, I'll roll first and ask you a question because I know that you are still looking at things for the Forge Master. So, I shall roll. I rolled a 34.
Oh, what's a 34?
So, a 34. Oh, okay. So, what's an arc or adventure you'd love to explore in a campaign but haven't had the chance to yet? Should we say that with any of the characters that you've played so far, or an arc that you've seen run on the channel that you're not a part of?
See, maybe this is indicative of me DMing too much, but my initial thought was, what thread would I want to pick up that I've DM'd? But
all that, go for that as well. Yeah.
Okay, so a thread that I want to DM, but I'm not sure at what point I might get the chance. I really want to return to Kithis, just because I quite enjoyed the little town. Like, it wasn't particularly fleshed out before I went to it, so it was just really nice to delve into. Okay, what's the history of it? You know, what people are there? Like, what you know, not franchises, but like, you know, what market sellers would be in the market, and you know, other personalities around the town. So yeah, I kind of fleshed it out, and we had 4 episodes, which I feel like we did quite a bit of exploring, but there was actually quite a bit that we didn't look at, and so I'd really like to just pick up Kithis again. Yeah, like I say, I'm not sure when I'll get the opportunity, but we'll see. And in terms of characters, I think the Tetch story strand that I kind of began with Ali in Distorted Revelation, I think that would be fun to pick up again, because he's currently in Baldur's Gate and a little bit bewildered as to what to do next.
I think for me, I haven't DM'd on the channel yet, so I can't go off of my DMing that I'd like to pick up. So in terms of an adventure that I've seen or been a part of, that I'd like to see picked up, 100% Huxley's Book Club. Even if Alaric won't be in it, but I just want to see like the Prattler come back and do the same sort of thing with somebody else, because the concept of that was amazing. The other thing would be, it would have to be a continuation of some sort of, in terms of my characters, it would be Garnot. Jakarth's story has ended in a way, because his big thing was to get rid of Jurak and Tony. But, you know, if another adventure pops up that he could be a part of, then he would. But he has no outstanding threads that he needs to pull on. But Garnot does, and I'd like to be able to work with the DM and do something, maybe him eventually getting to Baldur's Gate to do the research on his family, and then potentially go into the Feywild. So that would be that.
Fab. Right. My turn for you?
Yes.
Right. Roll that dice. And that dice, what has been rolled, is a 41.
Ooh, okie dokie.
So 41. If all of your characters had to fight each other, who would win?
Oh, now, I think for fairness' sake, we should probably have them all to the same level as the highest character.
Probably want to assume that they've leveled up, yeah.
Yeah. So the highest level character that I've played with Roll Together is Ezekiel, who is level 18. Level 18 Bard. The funny thing is, Ezekiel, Alaric, Jakarth, and Garnot are all family. So that's going to be an interesting fight. And then you've got Jack McGlover and Jax, who are two other characters that I've played in one-shots. I would say, out of all of them, Ezekiel has it, I reckon, because he has the ability to cast Wish. So, in terms of game statistics, he would win. In terms of sheer awesomeness and the ability to kick absolute, but it would be Alaric, followed closely by Jakarth. I do have a plan to make Jakarth more like Alaric in terms of game build, swapping out some what they called archetypes and stuff. But so we may see that eventually. But yeah, I think Ezekiel, as much as a douche as he is, I think he would win. What about yourself?
So I haven't played as high a level as you. I think the highest level character I played is Bernard. And at this point, I can't remember whether it was level 12 or 13. It wasn't massively high. Closely followed by Aothar and Old Georgie. And then it kind of goes down and down and down into my many wizards. But yeah, I think it's like you say, it comes down to caster bias, doesn't it? Like
I think for you just said many wizards, and I've seen a lot of the characters you play, many spellcasters. I think it'll be whoever's first in the initiative that can cast Fireball.
In which case it would probably be Roberto, purely because he's got a ridiculous initiative modifier. Like it, because he's a Harangon, and then he's also a Chronomancer, and I think there may have been something else that gave him just a ridiculous, like something like plus 11, and that's only going to get worse as he gets higher level.
That's dirty. That's dirty.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because he's a chronologist, maybe he'd even just freeze everyone in time. Because isn't there like a really high level wizard spell that like you basically get 4 rounds to yourself to prepare stuff?
Time stop. Time stop.
Time stop.
You get one. I think you get 1d4 plus 1 rounds before anybody else does anything.
Yeah. So like bare minimum 2 rounds, possibly 5, to himself before anyone's even had a chance to go. At the end of which he fireballs everyone. Yeah. And the other thing with Roberto is he's a little bit of a prick, so he wouldn't even have any qualms about doing it.
So no. Going a little off topic here, which is what we do sometimes. If you did have the ability to do a time stop spell with any character, what would you do with say you get the maximum of 5 rounds to do something? What would you do with those 5 rounds?
I don't know. See, this is where I wish I'd paid more attention to what David was trying to do in Crash and Burn before Murta banished the creature and combat was over. I don't know. See, this is the trouble, because I don't play high level characters very often. I'm not super familiar with like a lot of the really high level spells, so I'm kind of restricted to my knowledge of like Stone Skin and like, I mean, maybe like a ridiculously high level sleep at the end of it, so that you can then take everybody out one by one.
That would be cool. I think my options would be either set myself up, so lower level spells like Mirror Image, Blink, all the ones that don't take concentration but are really good buff spells that you can have on yourself all the time. And then the other option would be just to go down the levels, because Time Stop's a 9th level spell, go down the levels from 8 to hang on, math in my head, 8 to 3 or whatever. No, it would be, so you get 1/9, which would be time stop, 1/8, 1/7, and I think 2 6s. So it'd be 8th level viable, 7th level viable, 2 6th level viables.
I'm pretty certain though, time stop, as soon as you affect someone else, you unstop time. So your first 4 rounds would need to be the buffs, and then your last one would be your 8th level. All right, now you're all going to be on fire.
That would probably be why I've never seen anybody do that particular thing, because that would be ridiculously overpowered.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine being on the other side of the time stop? Like the wizard does something, and then very suddenly you've got 5th degree burns.
Or your arms just disintegrated in front of you.
Yeah. Oh, I seem to be on fire. Yes, I think you're right. I think just a ton of buffs to, maybe one just afforded to try and increase your damage somehow. But they're mostly like probably haste being the concentration.
Yeah. That'd be good. Haste or Sanctuary would be good.
Yeah, do wizards generally have Sanctuary? Or is that a divine one?
That could be... Oh, I don't know, actually. I'm sure the kobolds or the audience will tell us if wizards get that as standard.
I don't currently have my spellbook up, so yeah.
Should we go back in?
We can certainly try.
Yeah. I think we don't need to say talking is a free action to go back in, do we? Just have to wave our hands and we just go back, don't we? I've seen Tom do that a couple of times.
Do you have to say doing things as a bonus action?
Doing things as a bonus action. Well, that was fun, wasn't it?
I don't know what you're talking about. I was time stopped.
Oh, right, yes. Well, it did feel like a bit of a out-of-body experience as well. So, there's my friend gone. There's my friend. Right down the top. There you go. Yep, there we go. There we go. Feed them some food. So, yes, what were we talking about before?
Well, we were asking for some things that illithids do that we might be able to pretend that a Nyogi was doing.
Mind control and is obviously one thing. Hunting their prey, but drawing their prey into them would be another.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm actually struggling to find them. All of my my normal searches is come up a little bit blank.
Well, we could just go off of that, couldn't we? We could just go off of they have the same sort of hunting patterns.
I mean, there's the whole thing about intellect devourers, isn't there?
Yes,
they're linked to illithids.
They're those brain creatures that have got the feet and hands sort of thing that run around, aren't they?
Yes, those ones. I think I found one of the big ones. Let's see. Extracting brains, mind blast.
Oh, that sounds terrifying. Have you ever fought an illithid before? Or a Nyogi?
I believe if I had, that I probably would not be standing here with you.
That's fair. I've put them like on a chessboard sort of thing and put them against parties before. I've never actually stopped to have a conversation with one or fought one myself. I'm not that stupid.
Precisely. Right, I found you. So it looks like the main thing is the psionics,
Right,
and lots of brain stuff. Aren't they? The elder brain. That's a thing, isn't it? That's an illithid thing.
Yes, it's the one that controls the illithids.
So maybe we should be looking at what are the signs that you've got an elder brain.
Interesting. Well, there's the tadpoles, of course. The illithid like to implant tadpoles in their victims' heads so that they can make more of themselves as their preferred method of reproduction, I believe. So that could be something. There could be like a pool of tadpoles around in the village or something that may or may not be illithid tadpoles.
I was just looking at the regional effects as well on the Elder Brains entry in the Question Master's Guide, and territory within 5 miles, creatures become more paranoid. There's something called psychic whispers. You hear incomprehensible whispers in the deep recesses of your mind, and telepathic eavesdropping. Well, I don't imagine that last one's particularly easy to imply to someone that it's happening, but certainly the psychic whispers and stuff.
Yes, sort of like an incoherent whispering sort of thing. Does the Neogami do they have the ability to converse with people telepathically?
That is a good question.
I'm sorry, I'm asking you all of these questions. That's because you have the manual in front of you. You see.
Oh no, absolutely. I think that's a very good point. Right, so they're not really sufficiently high enough level that they've got a massive amount of spell casting. It looks like it's level 4. You've got a Neogi Master.
That sounds like that could be the creature that the playmaker. That's me. The players. Or the people that we bring from the material plane, that could be the thing that they go up against.
I mean, yeah, certainly. You've also got a Neogi Pirate, which seems fairly apt.
Seems fairly apt for a seafair town, yes.
That's what I was thinking. So you've almost got Neogi who have come to town by accident because they've moored up and gone, all right, well, we'll just mind control everybody, and then we're sorted.
That actually sounds rather fun. There could be a ship, a very colourful looking ship in dock that you could suggest is there, maybe. That could be the lair. That could be where they're hiding.
Mm.
In the decks below.
It also says that they dominated Umber Hulks, which are a significantly higher level threat than they are, but
that's terrifying.
You could almost have some signs of Umber Hulks, and but that's neither here nor there. That's just deception and just trying to throw people off the scent.
Yes, I think the ideas that you came up with for the illithids is fantastic. With the mind control, the squids, maybe a pond full of tadpoles, whether they be illithid tadpoles or frog tadpoles, we don't know. Sort of that all hints towards it being an illithid, but then we could have a pirate ship that's docked in the bay, which has Neogi, pirates.
I just had a random thought as well.
Ooh.
The Elder Brain thing about the psychic whispers. Yeah. So typically, it doesn't look like the Neogi really have message or anything useful like that. Right. But I mean, there's no reason why one of them might have learned that instead of prestidigitation, which for some reason they've got. But maybe they're not entirely sure on how they're using it. So whenever people hear the kind of psychic whispers, it's actually this Neogi trying to talk to their Neogi friend on the other side of the bay, completely missing, and accidentally getting you, and you're just hearing their language, which is apparently deep speech, and which would be incomprehensible to most people. So you think, yes. Oh, I'm hearing these whispers, and they're telling me to burn things, when actually, no, you're being mind controlled to burn things, and occasionally someone's trying to tell their mates about the football scores.
Yes. That's actually a very good idea. Yes, we should get that down. Let's just write that down. Right, let me just get this. Sorry, this is the question master's bit of paper. I'm just going to write it on here. Yep, I've got that down. It's good. Now, the thing is, what do you think the resolution would be to this puzzle or combat or social?
Well, it's got to resolve in them figuring out that it's not actually illithids and an elder brain. They've got a clock that actually this is something that's in your wheelhouse and you'll be able to take on. It's a bit of a shame that they're mostly so high up in the chain. But I mean, perhaps a Neogi hatchling. How old is a hatchling when it's at home?
It sounds like wasn't that like a eighth of a level or something?
It was an eighth, so you could quite happily throw between 4 and 8 of them at a party,
Yes.
and then they'll feel quite good about themselves, and then you throw the 3 or the 4 at them.
Yes, and if you're planning on your party's level to be between, the first and the third level of adventuring, that definitely seems like a adequate challenge for them. Maybe pushing them with the wonders of the 4th level of difficulty might be a bit of a stretch. It could also be rather fun, depending on how quickly they go through the others.
It really depends, doesn't it, on who it is that we bring into the question dungeon.
It does, doesn't it? Yes. There's quite a few people who I've seen who like to fight their way through situations, and there's others who like to make friends with everything. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the material plane people take on this challenge, I believe.
Someone who's a sufficiently high level would probably just walk through one of the level 3s, even if they've already used a fair amount of their energy on the Neogi hatchlings.
Yes,
but,
definitely.
But the nice thing about level 3s is just if you've got some, a group who are a bit bigger, then you can tell them that right, there's not the one that you thought. It's actually 4 of them.
Yes, I mean, obviously, if you were to have somebody of a higher level come into it, you could add in an illithid pirate captain, as an example, with 1 leg. That's not at all copyrighted for any other squid-based pirate captains that there are in the world. But
no, you'd have to give him like a crab claw or something to make him really distinct.
Definitely, yes. I mean, you could definitely do that to add a little extra spice to the challenge. Okay, right. So we've got that. And then obviously what we need to decide now is the resolution, the final mark that allows the player material plane person to complete this room and move on to the next one. It would be to free the mind control, would it not?
That seems like the best thing to do. Let me see if there's anything that tells us what the Neogi's deal is and whether they've got a telltale sign, because they've got to figure out that it's not an illithid, don't they? So
yes. Well, I mean, we've had the little indications of like different paints and dyes around like the ship and on some of the houses and stuff, effectively them marking their territory.
But then,
but not everybody's going to know that.
Yeah, unless they've got someone in the group who's a knowledge-based character who could do some sort of history check.
Yes.
But you can't always rely on that, can you?
What if we had, and might be going out there a little bit, but what if we had one of the people in the village, whether it be just a random person that the material plane hero might know, or one of the people that they've traveled with, that they're currently traveling with, that's been brought here as well? What if one of them was slightly stronger willed in the mind, to past their, I believe they're called saving throws at one point, and is resisting the effects of the hold that they have on them, and they're the ones that say, "Oh, It's not an illithid, it's this thing. How
Someone who
does that
can
sound?
debunk, and when they say, "Oh, was it a humanoid person with a squiggly face?"
And a
and they
grab for a
go, "Oh
hand.
no, no, it wasn't. It's not that at all. It's these people with the spider legs and the eel face."
Yes, terrifying creatures.
I think I'm going to say talking is a free action. I thought maybe it'd be quite nice to roll the dice again.
Yes, that sounds good.
If you felt like it, I'll roll for you first this time.
Okie dokie.
Oh, now that's an 8.
That's very low.
That is a very low number. Which,
Do you know what I always find?
hmm,
It's really annoying when you roll the percentile dice and you roll under a 10. Because whenever you do that with divine intervention as a cleric, it never happens. Sorry, carry on.
so this is interesting. So you're going to have to pick a character.
Okay.
Describe your character's ideal date.
Ooh, ideal date.
Now we've already seen, I think, Garnot in a suit
Yes.
at Live Fast, Die Free.
Yes.
But,
Went to the underworld. That was a great interactive theater experience for him. He enjoyed that. He didn't like the fact that Roger was turned to stone, however. See, now there was a romantic connection made between Garnot, or at least a lot of flirtation insinuated at between Garnot and Augury in Nexus. So that's sort of the only romantic connection that there's been between any of my characters. Ideal date for Alaric would probably be the easiest. Quite simply, he would sit at home with his wife, who is unfortunately passed away now, but he would sit at home with a nice hot chocolate that Blaze would have made for him, and would be reading a book. One of the books that Huxley or Tine or Grimney or anybody would have suggested for the next book club. That would be his ideal idea of a day. And obviously his wife would be reading the book as well. That's what they used to do before she passed. So what about you?
Well, so this is an interesting one for me because I pretty much exclusively play asexual, aromantic characters. So all of my characters' ideal dates would be solo dates where they have planned something to do at home on their own. I'm trying to think. I think probably the only character off the top of my head that is not asexual is Bernard. And he's used to the finer things in life. Like he's got that rock star lifestyle kind of thing. So it would be probably the snazziest restaurant in whatever town or plane he's visiting, that would still allow him to come in wearing his sleeveless top. Just lots of probably very burnt crispy food, but like top-notch crispy food.
The best crispy bacon you could ever find.
Oh yeah,
I had some of that yesterday, and it was. I had to have a drink, but it was nice.
Definitely making me hungry again.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't had dinner yet. I shall roll for you. I rolled on the other end of the spectrum. I rolled a 95.
Ooh.
So, now, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Who's the best villain you've ever faced in a game, or, because we are both DMs, played in a game?
Now I know that, Durok is the kind of obvious answer from a DM's perspective, but like he was an interesting one because he wasn't intended to be a villain. Like when I first kind of came up with the idea of Durok in Lonely House of Neverwinter, he was meant to be a kind of tragic villain. He'd lost his partner and was doing anything and everything he could to do it, and felt that, the means justified the end, or the other way around.
To bring them back, you mean?
Yeah. So to bring Ivid back, Jorok was willing to do pretty much anything else, and that's kind of the for me the mark of a villain, like one that you can kind of see this perspective of, but just they're going about it all wrong. However, as the series kind of developed, they got more twisted by Ragnora's influence. Jorok was by the end of it was just this horrific part wasp person. I did enjoy DMing him, but I think I think his story's closed. So as much as it was fun to kind of develop him as it went, I'm not. I think Jurok is done. And in terms of the best villain I've faced, I had a lot of fun in Ali's game, Distorted Revelation, with the kind of overarching plot that he had. There were definite hints at some kind of really big thing going on behind the scenes that we were too small and insignificant to work out what they were. I'm really excited to kind of see a little bit more of whatever the shadowy figure is that was pulling the strings there. How about you?
So for me, I'm going to keep this strictly to Roll Together, because if I was to say about villains that I faced in real life, in person games or not on stream, I could probably do an entire talk together on that. So I'm not going to do that. So in terms of villains, so obviously I can't answer the DM question, but in terms of villains that I've been against, obviously Jurok, we've already gone through the description of Jurok. He is the top one for me, mainly because I've done 2 adventures against him, so that's why he's at the top. To go down below that, it's not so much a villain, but more the sort of concept of everything that was going on at that time, and that was in Nexus that Nat DM'd. We had the creature in the closet that was absorbing and eating people in that aspect, but it was just the fact that a villain, somebody had set this all up to happen, and it was all sort of going wrong, and it was just very well interweaved. And at the end of it, what was his name? Tusktooth, I believe his name was. He came across to me as the ultimate villain in this situation, but he wasn't present at all. Gargarius Tusk, his name was. That's correct. So yes, no, but that adventure in and of itself was, although there wasn't like a main villain, we saw a lot of what I believe her name was Nora was doing in the background, or had been doing before she'd disappeared and appeared in your one shot. So I just think there was a lot of good interweaving in there. So I'd say that. Obviously the enemy that we fought in Addy's game as well, which the name of the campaign completely. It's the first time that I played Scarnot. I can't remember what it was called now.
Back in the annals of time.
Yes, but it is on YouTube somewhere. Just look for a picture of me and Ali and Nat, and I can remember the people who played in it, but I just can't remember the name of it. Distorted Revelation, I think it was called.
That was the second one. That was the follow-up.
That was it.
Pretty certain. Tell you what, I'll just very quickly, because I never close a tab. So
that's fair.
This is the quickest thing. I'm just going to search for Garnet.
Garnet.
Garnot. Very exciting for the audience. Can see was in a divergent dream.
Divergent Dream, there we go. That's the one. Yes, so Divergent Dream, the whole concept of the masks and the having to go into other people's consciousness and all of that as well was very good. Yes, but to be fair, I haven't been in many other games other than those. So, honourable mention to the Live Hard Die Free that Chris did for Christmas, where we played our 80s action hero mock-ups.
It was just called Dice Hard, wasn't it?
Or it was Dice Hard, yeah. That was obviously another fun one. Anyway, I think we're getting towards the end of our time. Should we go back in and finish our little room creation? I clicked on the wrong thing there, so let's go back in. Wave hands. Oh well. Did you feel it that time? Or did you feel like you were?
Feel like I probably did, but I don't know. It's hard to feel anything in this blasted heat, right? So
that could have gone very dark for a second then, or very sad. One of the two, but yes.
I mean, take your pick.
Take your pick, yes. So
shall we recap what we've got?
Yes. So our adventurers come into a coastal town, either via the quay/dock or the beach. The coastal town has a resemblance to something in the hero's memory, maybe somewhere they're from, somewhere they've journeyed to, somewhere where they've made some sort of connection. When they appear there is a bit of strangeness going on with the people there. They're a bit not oblivious, but they're under the effects of mind control. We know that. But there are indications that it is illithids. We have squids being sold at the fish market. We have a pond full of tadpoles. We have obviously the mind control. But there's also a ship in dock, a very colourful looking ship, and some of the houses have got various different colours on them as well, hinting that it might be something else. And I believe the last thing that we said was that one of the people in the village, whether it be a village person or one of the other heroes that the hero that we have is adventuring with currently, where we've plucked them from, is resisting the effects. Is that correct?
That sounds about right to me. And I was also thinking, hang on, is that a kobold right there?
Yes, that is a kobold.
Is that I think they've got a note.
Oh.
I think it's from the masters again.
Oh. Have we done something wrong?
I mean, let me just give this a read, right?
Okay.
We have been watching your progress with all 7 eyebrows raised. You do remember our talking as a free action powers only extend to 1 hour, right? Whilst we are impressed by your enthusiasm and attention to detail, this design would be more suited to a one-shot in documentary. They've got a point there. Possibly designed a game rather than a room.
Yes, we did waffle on a little bit, didn't we?
Thus, we cannot include it in the roster. All is not lost, however. We have been impressed by your creativity, and on the proviso you actually provide us with the blueprints to new encounters in a timely manner, we may consider your promotion. Don't forget to thank the sponsors and supporters again, and wipe the kobold's crumbs up before you leave. You're not out of internship yet. Okay, well, sponsors and supporters are, of course, Hero Forge, Ultra Pro, Phoenix Dice, and Alchemy RPG, and we are supported by Idle Champions, Neverwinter, Elderwood Academy, and D&D Beyond. What more do we have? Do be dears and remind our wonderful audience that they can find us here every Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. BST. Other time zones are available, and on Mondays and Tuesdays from 6 to 9 p.m. when we stream our D&D games, where you can follow the adventures of people just like the people that we always take on in these sorts of things, you know. All of these streams at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg. VODs are available immediately after the stream to catch up, or you can find all our content on YouTube a few days later. And don't forget, you can also enjoy them as a podcast. Do you want to read this last bit? It's quite a lot.
As was said, the last little bit was. Did you pass us a bit of paper here? Yes. No. Hang on. I've just got to look over the notes that I've already written on. So it says, many thanks again to our D20 Club on Patreon. If you'd like to support us, you can do so from as little as one of your local currencies per month. Thank you also to all of our sponsors and supporters, which the Forge Master had said before. And there's this thing that we have to say at the end.
Should we say it together?
Should we say it together? Yes, ready? Let's see how well this goes. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Always stay classy at the table.